This is the Blackout Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Blackout Podcast, where I get to talk to amazing people that do amazing things. And today I'm super happy to have Justin, my friend, Gaudreault.
There you go.
Like GoPro with a D. Thanks for coming to the podcast
Thanks
today.
for having me, man.
Yeah, so let's go way back. Way back. Tell me, what was Justin like growing up and shit?
Oh, Jesus. Justin growing up was bullied and didn't really have many friends when he was a kid. But I kind of applaud that because it kind of made me who I am today. So I was, I grew up in Lance. So nobody that knows that, it's basically a backwoods infield way. So there's not a lot to do. And my birthday is in the summertime. So I had like no friends that could hang out in my birthday. So I ended up like moving my birthday basically. So it was kind of one of those childhoods, but, no, it was good. I had, a great family, loving family, very supportive. Everybody seems to be talented. Like my mother sings, my father plays the accordion and the harmonica. My brother played the guitar. I played the drums. So we're very like inclined family creatively. So I kind of, from a young age, I developed a sense of, I guess, how things work and how I want things to do. And I was a Y kid, so I was always, taking shit apart or trying to figure out how things worked or trying to learn new skills. My father's very handy, so I ended up being kind of one of those meticulous people of like being able to do many things. So yeah, so I was one of those kind of into everything kids.
And then audio, how did that begin?
Well, that started, Jesus. So it's kind of a weird journey, but it started as a child. Like I said, I had a lot of musical influence, and I was a drummer. So I kind of took to percussion just like a duck to water. Like I just played by ear. I have, I have a cousin who he's a lot older than me, and he was a drummer, and he kind of talked to my mom, and then they got me a set of drums for Christmas one year when I was a kid, and he kind of gave me the rundown and basically taught me how to play. And then my brother played the guitar, so we ended up creating like bands and stuff together. And
Who's older?
My brother's, he's 3 years older, yeah. So we kind of went that journey for about 6 or 7 years, like on and off. And then I kind of got out of drumming because it was like, I'm a very driven person, as you know. So it was always like I had to wait on everyone else, like to play. And I didn't really like drumming with headphones on playing like cue music because it was like boring. So yeah, so I ended up, I kind of gave up the drums, and there was like a 2-3 year hiatus. And then, no, maybe a little more than 2-3 years. It was probably closer to 5 or so. And then throughout life, like, when I was a bouncer at many of the nightclubs, and I became friends with like a lot of the DJs that were there because they always stuck me on the stage. So I kind of used to watch all the hand movements and used to kind of pick it up, and I was very curious of like how that kind of works. And then one thing turned into another, and then I ended up getting a set of gear and starting and basically just picked up DJing on my own and did that for many years, and made a lot of friends and played a lot of the clubs. And then that kind of turned into me wanting more because I didn't want to play other people's music as much anymore. I wanted to make my own music. So then, so that kind of got me into like, electronic music production and trying to understand the production side of it and how I could do that on my own, plus play my own music. So then that, that was a few years. And then once I started making my own music, then I kind of caught the bug. And I wanted to learn more. So obviously, so I decided to pursue an engineering career. So the Center for Arts and Technology in BC was where I applied. And they actually sent me an email saying, you have a Halifax campus, but Halifax didn't do an awesome job. Sorry, Halifax. They didn't do an awesome job of promoting that they had a school for that when I was looking. So I ended up not knowing until the actual BC campus said, no, you don't have to move, because I was going to go. So then I went to school in 2010 for my engineering, it was kind of odd because I was already in the industry, but I wanted to get my actual paper and kind of learn more. So a lot of the kids that were in my class were like way younger. So I was kind of like, from the beginning, I was like, they almost treated me like I was an instructor already. And I was actually their classmate.
Yeah.
There's a few of them that, like, they kind of understood that, yeah, you're an older student or whatever. And I mean, we all got along. But so I went through my engineering. That was a 2-year course. And then as soon as I finished my engineering, I was actually hired on by the school as a lab instructor. Oh, wow. Yeah. So then I kind of, I helped the kids out in labs and stuff. And then eventually moved into an instructor role. And then after that, then I kind of parted ways and I went on my own. So throughout this whole journey, I was always doing freelance for my own stuff. So I just decided to do it on my own. And then fast forward 2 years, and then, no, about 2.5 years. And I got a phone call from Current Studios. And I didn't even know who they were at the time. But it was an industry recommendation, and they wanted to talk to me about, coming in and seeing if I would want to be their engineer and if I was a good fit. And they merged from Postman and Ad Dispatch. And when they created Current Studios, they moved in a new building in Halifax. And I went in on a Friday, and I was working on a Monday. And yeah, it felt like it was right at home for me. The company had a wide set of like needs that I seem to be able to fill with audio, where they're a digital company as well as a post house. So being able to do as much as I can, I was able to kind of grow substantially in that company. And then, so I was there for a little over 2.5 years. And now I'm going on my own. So I'm going to break that down now.
I'm going to break that down.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the Center for, what's it?
Center for Arts. Yeah.
Center for Arts, right? How did you feel transitioning from a student to an instructor?
It kind of felt normal because I was an older student and I was already in the industry. So, I mean, I did have that kind of experience, but I'm also a naturally comfortable person in those settings of, I don't know, like helping others. So, it felt natural. I mean, I paid attention a lot in my course, and the school, like if I believe in something, as you know, if I believe in it, I'm going to give it 200%. So I believed in the school and what they were trying to do. And I believed in the instructors, especially Lil Thomas. And I mean, there's like Tony Murphy and Fateh Ahmed. And like, there was so many instructors and so many people there that really helped push me to want to stay. So when it became available for me to actually stick around after my graduation, I jumped on the chance because I mean I knew that the school costs a lot to go, and I mean, you know, you gotta get your experience, but the whole time that I was in school I volunteered for literally everything. Like literally. And I mean even when I was an instructor, I was still volunteering. So I started, one of the things that kind of really kicked off my career in Halifax after my engineering was I took on the role of the Tunes at Noon concert series.
What was that?
So it's a concert series. I don't even know if they're still doing it anymore. But it's a concert series that was put on at Grand Parade.
Oh no, it's still It's
Yeah.
still going on. Because I remember seeing a post about it. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Like it's in the summertime.
yeah, it was. Yeah.
And then like a couple of days.
Yeah, it was like 3 days a week and stuff.
something
yeah.
like this. Yeah, right in the Grand Parade.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I was a student, it was running for 2 years, I think. And then I volunteered to basically set up for the bands and like get my live sound experience that way. And I mean, I already had some prior experience from, DJing and doing the drum thing. And so it was like,
Next level.
easy work. It was fun. You get to meet some people and stuff. So I really liked doing it because it was a sense of like community building, so to speak, right? So, excuse me. It was like you could have a band to play, and it also gives people in the city like a place to eat their lunch and enjoy like a musical setting.
Yeah.
And like it's not just like everybody eating at their desk and stuff. So it was kind of working multiple angles, and I kind of like that. So what I did was volunteered for 5 or 6 years my services, and then once like I don't know if it was like 3 years in, 2 years in. Yeah, it must have been a little over 2 years in. When I graduated, things started going like south with the funding. So I had accumulated a bunch of equipment, and the city also had equipment. So I continued to do it, and I volunteered my time, and I also like
Give you a gear.
yeah, like I used what I needed to and stuff, and I also gave students their experience that way. So like it was part of their like work experience was they would come and they would do that with me, and I would let them mix and basically just oversee the whole thing going, and that was like 5 or 6 years, I think. Yeah, and then the city actually recognized that for me, and I won the Volunteer of the Year award in 2014.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, I have immense pride for my city, but I also have immense pride for, people being able to do stuff like that, and I feel that it's super important. So that's one of the things that I've always done. But I mean, as life moves on, I couldn't continue to do it because I had other obligations and I was growing my own business, and eventually it just got taken over by the school, and I don't know, like that was a few years ago now. So
Yeah, I think the post I saw about it was done by is it downtown? I think downtown, Halifax or something. Yeah.
Yeah, Music Nova Scotia, downtown Halifax, and one other company. I can't remember.
Turns at noon at the Grand Parade. That's cool though.
Yeah. So I mean, like the live sound experience was really good. I met a lot of really good artists, and I made a lot of really good connections, as well as not just through the city, but like artist connections. So I mean, it's great exposure, and a lot of the engineers that I took to that event, I ended up hiring in my own company as I needed them, because it's one thing to go and get the experience, but it was another thing to show that you're willing to, because a lot of people in I want to say the younger generations, but in most generations, they're like, oh, I don't want to do something for free. But it's like, sometimes if you do something for free, it not just benefits that situation that you're in right then, it also creates a different view on your personality and a different view on your capabilities and what you're willing to do for other people, right? So it creates a different set of like connection skills, so to speak. So I mean, for me, anybody that knows me knows that I'll give the shirt off my back to anyone. It was just one of those things where it felt like in my personality I could do it as well. Same thing, it's a studio environment. It just felt like at home. So yeah.
And then the thing with being a DJ. So the name Grubby, let's talk about that.
Okay, so the name Grubby.
Yeah.
Excuse me. The name Grubby started from like how my music is produced. So my bass lines and stuff are very not like everyone else. So they're very dirty, and they're very like distorted, and it's one of the things that I became known for. Like most of my friends, they would expect that. Like if I were to change it, they would know that something's up. So I just became known for that, and like it's just terminology. Like grubby is kind of dirty and whatever. So a lot of people that don't understand the background, they're like, grubby is kind of weird, but it's just an alias. So that became like my moniker for that, and then that became a nickname because nobody could say my last name. So then everybody just started calling me Grubby. So I just go by that. But my actual first artist name was given to me by a DJ friend of mine, Bugsy. But he nicknamed me Juice Tank. So that I didn't have a DJ name, and he gave me that name. So
what, DJ Juice Tank?
No, a lot of people said DJ, but I never like putting that in front.
Yeah, I know. Like if I have a DJ name, it's just gonna be a name. It's not gonna be like
it'd be just
DJ
like Bob or Phil. Or just,
exactly. Yeah.
I never really liked.
Why did he call you Juice Tank?
Because my name in French is Justin, so so it was he was laughing one night, and he thought it was funny, so he ended up, he was like, Justin, he was like, Juice Tank, that's your name. And I was like, all right, whatever. So then I went by that for a few years, but then when I rebranded into the Grubby persona, I lost a lot of like my following and stuff. Everybody thought I moved away. I didn't. I just switched it up, right? So I mean, even to this day,
but
I'm still Grubby.
When you were DJing, then what kind of music did you play?
I started out like kind of house music, and like the usual top 40 house and techno, and then I kind of. When I was a drummer, I was like hip hop and kind of like metal, and I always had like a weirder taste than normal. And then I discovered throughout the years like UK grime and dubstep, and that's when that's when like I really kind of felt at home with my bass lines and stuff. So I started following the UK, and when I started doing that, I kind of shifted from making like house music and stuff to more of like the UK grime or like the harder underground stuff. But then with production, I can't sing. Anyone that knows me knows I can't sing. I mean, on any given day, I can't even speak half the time. So I have a best friend, Shane Noss, and I met him actually through a party of one of my exes. We were like all friends, and he was kind of like, he always wanted to rap, but he never really like did it. And my ex was like, well, why don't you work with Justin and he'll get you going and stuff. So we started talking, and then I was like, you know what? Like, you got some skills here. And he was all like, no. And I mean, even today, he's like, no. I mean, for me, it's like, you asshole, because you're so good and you just don't want to. But I mean, life goes on. But so I mean, it took 3 years, and we were just it became like a hobby. And then I decided, I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to make electronic music, but I want it to be like underground and stuff, I need to influence certain styles that say me. So, I mean, I kind of like, I dress kind of like underground, kind of hip hop and grimy, but I talk like a sailor sometimes, but I'm also like very like professional in situations. So I'm very adaptive. So I was like, well, how can I take like his kind of vocals and my musical style and create that into something that nobody's hearing before? And this was like back when North America was just starting to like, sorry, I gotta, it was like when North America was just starting to really kind of, I want to say, well, maybe not North America, but definitely here, was just starting to like kind of wake up to the underground UK scene. So I kind of started following that a long time before, and it ended up being like, well, shit, if they're doing it there, like there's some wicked music that's coming out of the underground UK that, you know, for me, I don't even care if it hits the radio. To me, it gets me going. So it's like, shit, I need to learn how to do that. So then I talked to him about it, and he was like, no, I'm hip hop. And I was like, man, I'm telling you, like, you could totally do this over the beats, and I know how to mix it, and I know how to, like, you know, massage things around and make them fit. So and he's like, okay, well, we'll try and make a track. So the first track on the album was actually a diss track for two people in the city that I'm not going to name. One of them got me to do some studio work for him, and then didn't pay me for it. So it was early on. Yeah. So I learned that lesson, and pay your engineers. So what happened there was I was like, you know, fuck this guy, and basically like, yeah, okay, I'll do. I'm not gonna fight for it. Like, it wasn't, you know, $1 million thing. So it was like, do I keep being pissed off at it or whatever? So then I decided, no, you know what, I'll get, you know, Shane to write a track together, and we'll basically send a fuck you, and yeah, so that was the first track. And once we made that track, I was like, yeah, we definitely gonna make an album. And so the track actually is it's called Euthanize, and it's off of the EP that we made called The Difference. Yeah. So that Euthanize pretty much speaks for itself. The second person, I'm not even going to tell a story about that one. But yeah, so it's basically fuck you, those two people. But after that, we just started kind of jiving. Like, it got him out of his shell a little bit vocally. As well as it took me about 3 years to get the album, because I had to like not only figure out this new style to like make something fresh, but also like train Shane to like not just get in front of a mic, but like to dip in and out of like where he needs to, like, because it's a totally different style, right? And again, it's like I don't really make dubstep and I don't really make grime, but I make like a combination of my own stuff, you know? So it's just one of those things. But yeah, so we ended up making we made a full album, and it took about 3 years, and then we put it out, and we got some shows. We started getting some notoriety, and then we kind of did a little bit of the mingling thing and the social, and then we started on our second album, and then life happens. So yeah, I mean, we're still best friends, but yeah, so we don't technically work as, you know, a team anymore, but there's still a lot of stuff on the album that I'm still kind of massaging out without him now, but he's still going to be like the grubby and cavalier. So he'll still get, you know, the usual royalties and stuff. But I have like the control on it. I always get him to improve anything anyway, just because we're best friends. But yeah, it's, I mean, it's been a weird road, but I feel better about that style, like with Cavalier. My own stuff is good, but at the same time, it's always, you know, it's like pizza. It's always better with friends, right? So yeah. But yeah, so I mean, we have like my production style, but then on my own, I do like trailer music and stuff. I pretty much make anything, but like the grubby name is like the electronic side of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then so you go to Current on Friday and start on Monday.
Yeah.
What did you initially work on at Current?
The initial thing, from what I remember, is like what was behind.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was like
setting it up, the place.
Yeah, there was still like some stuff that wasn't fully, you know, basically it was like built. And then the guy that was there before me, when he left, there was still like a little bit of stuff to do, and it was in operational order, but it was, needed some TLC. So, so the first 2 weeks that I was there, it was like grueling hours by myself. Because I mean, as you know, I just dive into everything. So, I put in a lot of extra hours to get all the extra work that was behind caught up, as well as get my head around the system, and knock some of the rust off. And that didn't take long, but about 2 weeks. And and then over the next 2 years or so, 2.5 years, I was allowed to, do what I wanted. And basically, I was highly encouraged to, you want to learn new skills, You want to, make this your own, make these your own. So I basically made the studios, me. So, I felt right at home. And like I said, they do digital stuff as well as post. So I kind of sharpened my skills on both sides. But through Current Studios, I realized that I really love film. Yeah, like sound design and mixing and stuff. I really love that.
What do you love about it?
The sound design, there's many aspects of it, but I mean, not sounding like an asshole, but I'm just really good at sound design. I don't know why, and I don't know where the skill comes from, but I just understand it. And it's like a sound that shouldn't make sense to be put somewhere, I can make sense of it, and very quickly. And I don't know why. It just
I remember the film of mine, the recent one you just worked on.
Oh yeah.
I'd mixed the phone call.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's on a phone call. It's so weird. And then when you fix it, of course.
Yeah.
That's what happens in real life, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like with that film especially, it was, and that's why when I was working on it, I was texting you, and I was like, I think we need to put like a ringtone because like the sound that was in there was like when you're dialing somebody, like the phone on your ear. So it was like, that fuzzy like, brrr, and I was like, it's in the car. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. So that's what I like about your films is like you're always, just do your thing, man. Just do your thing. So it allowed me to kind of like, okay, I know that it needs to be this. I know it needs to be this. But you also give me like the creative reins that like if we do something and it doesn't work, like I can fix it. But you always have that initial like, no, he's already done shit, and I know that he knows what he's doing. So, just do your thing. And so I mean that was really good. That was a hard film though for the dialogue.
actually, before we continue, I'm just gonna show that clip and then we'll come back to it.
Okay.
There. Hello? Are you there? Hello?
Yeah, it was silly that, I was thinking what happened was, I don't know. I know about sound. So when I was first editing it, right? Because, there's no fucking sound in the thing. And then the girl has to, like she's driving the car and she has to answer the call.
Yeah.
So when I got I searched for a ringtone, right?
Yeah.
Instead of searching for like I just took the first thing I just splashed it on there. And then it's silly because I've seen the film a few times, but it's ringing the same way for the girl as ringing for the person that's calling the girl.
Yeah.
So when you said, I remember, I saw that text and I was like, oh fuck, obviously.
Yeah,
I said obviously.
It was I mean, it was good, and the first time, like when you asked me about it, you're like, what. This was like a year ago, wasn't it? When you were like, like, what can I do here with this? And I was like, well, fuck, you can do all kinds of stuff. But what do you want to do? And you're kind of like on the fence with a couple ideas of like how you wanted it to come across, because it is a pretty powerful film. And I mean, when I actually got my hands on it, it was like, okay, shit, like we can do this, this, and this, and this, and this. And I mean, up to and including the car scene where she stops and, puts it in park and stuff. That's all design sounds. Like I took your sound out and then I built sounds that, there's no people talking in the background that is outside, or like, you're not hearing any odd birds and stuff. Like I made the ambiances and I made the car and, like the little subtleties of like when she stops the car, like the little brake squeak and stuff that she was on gravel, so I mix it like with a little bit of gravel and tires. And
I know. And that day we were shooting, right? We went to the beach at a time, like it was a day that gray and cloudy, and you do not think anybody would go to the beach. So I was like, this is a perfect day. It was actually raining that morning, so we decided to shoot. We're going to shoot at the beach first, then shoot in the house. But then it was raining that morning, so I was like, great, we'll just shoot at the house, and once it starts raining, we'll just run to the beach. It stops raining, we run to the beach. Yeah. It's full. What the fuck? Like, what is wrong with people staying in your house? It's raining anyway. So I'm super grateful for that, because the difference is like night and day. Yeah, it's like night and day.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the ambience and stuff, and the sound design of like the cars and the birds and the the sea and stuff. That's one thing, but like the dialogue itself, the task that you gave me of, I can't remember the male character's name, but Jim. Jim, yeah. So when he was talking in the room, it had to be changed to sound like in the car. So I had to dig through your files and find, like in the beginning of the film, you had one where he actually like talked in the car. Yeah. So I was like, this is awesome, because I basically like studied the frequencies and studied the the cadence of like how everything sounded in the car, and then I took all of his dialogue and I made it all sound in the car. Yeah. But then there was a lot of checkering because he was flipping back and forth between the house and. Yeah, it was just a lot of work, but I mean, thank God I had that other file because it really helped. But then mixing the film in surround, I decided, I was like, no, you know what? Let's put a little bit of, let's put the audience in the car. So then I added a little bit of like divergence to like kind of give it some space with his dialogue only, so it sounded like he, the car was there. So it was interesting, but those little subtle tricks are kind of like where I tend to go mentally.
But then I have to actually say, because your work ethic actually is scary. Because I remember one time I was actually coming for something else. I wasn't coming for sound, and then I was like, let me just come say hi, because they said you were there, and then you were not working on something. You took like a trailer from
it was
from
the
a
Elder
video
Scrolls,
game, and you took the sound out and you rebuilt it.
Yeah. So when basically my downtime is never downtime, because I love audio so much that I'm constantly looking to learn, and even when a lot of people, such as yourself, you're like, fuck, you got this on lock. It's like, for me, it's like, no, I'm not where I want to be yet. Because it's the same thing as a tool, right? If you don't sharpen it, it's dull. So with Current, I didn't get to do a lot of that cinematic kind of sound design stuff that I like love. It was more of like virtual reality and like films and commercials, but it was not really like the actual cinematic stuff. So just as practice, and that started when I was a student in my engineering. That was one of our things, like Mike Hastings. I owe so much to Mike. that was one of our project things. It was like, you get these trailers or you get these cut up movie pieces and you have to design your sounds to them, and then you were marked on that. So that was ingrained in me of like, when you want to practice, this what you do. So even today, it's like that Elder Scrolls trailer. I just stripped all the sound out and yeah, and
I'm not saying this because you're my friend or whatever, but because you played the original sound that comes with the whatever the game thing, and then you took it out and then you played the one you did that section.
The one I built,
I was like, what the
yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
I was blown away.
Yeah.
I was blown away. And I think I remember the thing that stood out to me was the spider. There was a spider.
Feet. Yeah.
And then how did you create that sound again? Because you took something else to make.
So those feet were made by Keyboard Sounds.
Yeah.
So I shortened them up, and then I did a whole bunch of stuff to it. But I made like the tiniest little kind of sound, and then every time that a little foot would come down, I would have a sound there. So,
and then because the fucking spider is walking funny, so he had to kind of put. It was great. It was fucking great.
Yeah, it took a little bit to get that one timed up, but the design part was one thing, but because I design and I mix, to do the trailer, I was just kind of taking my time to put it on like Portfolio or whatever if I wanted to use it. But I ended up mixing it as I was going. So like there were certain parts in the scenes that they didn't mesh because the original one was very driven by voiceover and music, and I wanted to kind of do this sound. So I was like, okay, well, I got to figure out what to do here creatively that I want to showcase, my sound design skills for this project, because I love all those trailers from the Elder Scrolls are great, but creatively I was like, well, how am I gonna do this, because I'm not gonna get somebody to do the voiceover, and I'm not gonna score a bunch of music because I want to showcase sound design, not music. So I had to think of like, okay, well, what am I gonna do to fill the gaps creatively? So then I started thinking like soundscapes as the undertone, and then surprisingly, as soon as I started putting the soundscapes and ambience in, it basically, without sound effects in there, it felt like holy shit, like I have like a bass for my trailer. So I was like, okay, well, that seems to work, so I don't need music or anything. And then I was just meticulously just picking through there, and even today, like I'll send it to you now, and you can post it wherever, but basically it sounds huge now.
Wow.
I redid the voices for like there's one character where he like knocks down the elf fella, and he like slits his throat after he says like
the masked person.
yeah. So I redid all those voices, and
wow.
I did. Again, like I can't sing, and I'm not good at voiceovers, but I affected it and everything. I kind of made it my own. So there's little subtleties in there. Like you'd probably have to watch it a few times to actually get your head around
all the things you put in there.
Yeah,
because I remember making you play that spider part over and over again.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna post the trailer. I'll probably like talk to you about.
And what's your Instagram?
Audio by Justin. Yeah. So I'll probably post it, but I'm also going to do like a screen recording and kind of like
this is
how I did it. Yeah. Just kind of tear it down.
Yeah.
Because there's 40 something tracks.
That's another thing. Your tracks always like that.
Yeah.
I remember every time I look at your screen, it's like, how does it even know what is happening?
It's a lot of zoom toggle, so you have to like snap in and out. But yeah, good sound design is chosen by the TBT, which is like your transient, your body, and your tail. So the first of the sound, and then the bulk of the sound, and then the ending of the sound. So if you can meticulously choose which layer is going to do what, you can actually get better sounds without having to mix as much or having to change as much. But sometimes when sounds don't exist, you have to make them exist. If you're, like you can't, for example, you're not going to get a sound of a transformer. So you have to, so when those sounds don't happen, you have a ton of layers, which make up one sound. Then you can either bounce down that sound and have like a stereo file or whatever.
Gotcha.
But for me, my sound design is made of many layers because they all work together, right? Which I think is where it kind of stands apart from most, because I put a little bit of extra in there. But yeah, I mean, the ability to work quickly at it, like, it's almost like my brain does two things. So like I'm working at Pro Tools, but then creatively, like, my brain's like, no, you need this type of sound. You need this type of sound. It's like I have a creative director in the back of my mind, and then I have like the actual engineer in the front. So it's weird. Like, my brain kind of splits into two ways. Yeah. But yeah, I love doing that stuff. I mean, if anybody needs that, I mean, I do freelance. I've been doing freelance forever, but ideally, the whole thing of, like I was talking to you about, where I want to relocate is it's not, you know, because I don't like the city. I love the city, but I want to relocate because I want to eventually get into, you know, like Hollywood type productions, and in order to work on those, you have to be there. But also, if I want to learn to be the best, I have to work with them. So yeah. So
okay, and now so I'm gonna end it with this. With this rebrand for Audio by Justin. How are you taking it, and where do you want to take it to?
Well, the Audio by Justin was it was rebranded from JG Audio. So JG Audio is like the umbrella company, which is just, you know, my name, but I do audio. But the Audio by Justin is a service. So it's audio done by me. So, you know, if you want something done right, you get it done by Justin, kind of thing. So there's many other people out in the world that, you know, are better than me. But I won't be outworked. I can fucking guarantee that I'm not going to be outworked because I care so much. And I don't care if I work 12 hours and 3 of those are free. It's about putting my best possible work forward, as you know. Like, the amount of things that I would do for free just because I know it deserves it. You know, like, when a filmmaker such as yourself, you can get it. Like, the story's there, and you know, your shots are there, and everything is there, but it's like, fuck, I can't get, you know, like, the sound, or, you know, like, I don't have a $10,000 budget to do this. It's just one of those things for me. It's like, I would love to see it get to the full potential, and that's where a lot of my extra time gets put in, because I see and believe in things that are like able to get to a spot, and if I have the skills to do it and the extra time to do it, I'm totally willing, right? I mean, and again, like, everything that I do, it's not a waste of time, even if it's free, because it's all practice, right? And especially with you, it's like, you allow me to kind of just do whatever. So a lot of times it's you try different things, and like things you wouldn't normally try with, like, you know, a big budget thing, because, you know, you got a director breathing down. Yeah. So, or you have like somebody creative that's, no, I don't like that. I don't like that. Or take 450, you know, like, no, we'll go back to take 10 kind of thing. But with the open freedom to do whatever, it allows me to be like, okay, well, what would you do, Justin? And then you can pick at it. Right. So yeah, I mean, that's the Audio by Justin brand now, is making sure that your story is told the way that it's supposed to be told.
Awesome. Yeah. So I'm going to start with thank you for all my films. Thank you for the intro music for my podcast. And thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
This is the Blackout Podcast. Thanks for listening.